I remembered those words. They stuck in my mind. But I decided that rather than be a hypocrite, I wouldn't go back to church because I had never really had an experience with God. Christianity was basically just religion to me and void of relationships. I traveled on up through Java, Singapore, Tiaman Island and into Malaysia, then on to Colombo in Sri Lanka with a Dutch woman I had met up with. Once there, I made my way up the coast to surf Arugam Bay. After a month of awesome waves, my visa was running out, so I returned to Colombo. I befriended some Tamil people in Colombo who welcomed me into their homes and family life. One time while I was staying with them, we all traveled to the hidden city of Katragarma. While I was at this sacred city, I had my first supernatural experience. As I was looking at a carved idol, I actually saw its lips move. I was deeply disturbed by this experience, and I wanted to leave the city as soon as I could. As I continued to live with my Tamil friends, I observed that each day they would offer food to their household idol, the elephant god Ganesh. Some days they would clothe it, other days bath it in milk or water. It seemed strange to me that a person could believe a stone idol could be a god, as someone had obviously made it with their own hands. But looking at that stone statue one day, I felt an evil yet powerful presence emanating from it. It surprised and intimidated me. Then into my mind, these words came: "You shall have no other god but me, and you shall not bow down to any graven image or idol." Immediately I recognized this as one of the 10 Commandments found in the Bible, Exodus 24-5. And I began to reflect on these words that I had heard way back at Sunday school. In my own way, I was on a journey to find the meaning to life. At times I considered myself an atheist, and at other times a free thinker. These experiences made me think about supernatural things, but I didn't have enough understanding of them to interpret them. I wanted to experience everything that life had to offer. And at that time, my philosophy was simply to live life as fully as I could. In those years, I never wore a watch. I lived in a timeless zone of sunrises and sunsets. I eventually returned to Arugam Bay, where I was excited to get a crewing position on a 27-meter schooner called the Constellation. We sailed out of Sri Lanka in the middle of the night, en route for Africa, and 26 days later, we arrived in Port Louis Harbour on the island of Mauritius, Tamarin Bay. I spent several weeks living in Tamarin Bay, in Mauritius, among the local Creole fishermen and surfers. Hashish, marijuana, gave us a common bond, and they accepted me into their lives and taught me how to night dive on the outer reefs. Night diving is an incredible experience. The crayfish come out at night, and you can blind them with your underwater flashlight and just pick them up. The fish go to sleep at night, and you only need to decide which one you want to spear for dinner. It was a fantastic sport, and we would sell our catches to the local tourist hotel. After several weeks of surfing, to my heart's content, on Tamarin's very fast left-hand reef break, I was running out of money. So I headed to South Africa, where I found a job teaching windsurfing and water skiing. Amazingly, they actually paid me to do this. I surfed Jeffreys Bay and Elands Bay and visited some of South Africa's world-famous wildlife reservations. I desired to travel overland through Africa up into Europe, but my plans were completely changed when I heard from New Zealand that my younger brother was planning to get married. I wanted to be at his wedding, so I made the decision to return to New Zealand via Reunion Island, Mauritius, and Australia. At my stopover in Reunion, I found an amazing surf break called Saint Lo, where I had some great waves to myself. Then I headed on to Mauritius. It was March 1982, and I'd been traveling now for nearly 2 years, often sleeping in a tent on beaches and living like a nomad. It was time to return home. Please stay with me as I walk through this story. I will continue in tomorrow's podcast. Thanks for joining me.